coaches who will give you like exact content prompts to follow, exact scripts to do in your Instagram stories, exact DM scripts, right? Like you can literally, if you try, you could find the exact playbook, the exact scripts to follow every single day. Yet that doesn't mean you're going to be successful. And that is why there are so many people out there who are doing everything right? Like they know what to do. They're doing every single thing right. Yet they're still stagnant. They're getting likes, but they're not getting sales. And so who like shows up once a month has a $16,000 launch. And you're like, what the heck's going on? It's because you don't swim on paper.
Welcome to the Wildly Free Podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Plord, business mentor, 3-times founder, and marketing nerd. On this podcast, you'll learn how to break free from the traditional job world and pave your own path so that you can go all in on life. Grab your favorite warm drink and pull up a chair as we talk all things marketing, growth, strategy, and the real and raw sides of entrepreneurship.
I have been extremely busy getting our house ready for Richard and I to move to our summer home, which is this tiny little off-grid cabin. It doesn't have a bathroom. And it's really fun because we get to just like switch gears, right? Like we have all these amenities at our current house. Like even though I'm in the forest here, we have a shed, we have a washer and dryer, we have a dishwasher, and we get to spend our summers living in this tiny square cabin with Ty the Ambitious Rebel, with no bathroom, no running water, and it's such an adventure. I love it. This is going to be our 3rd year. So I've been extremely busy getting our house ready because we put it on Airbnb for the summer to make some extra income, and also just to make sure our house isn't just completely vacant for 3 months. But I wanted to take a moment to, hey, Brenda's here too. Hi, everyone. I wanted to take a moment to talk about this concept that my swim coach, I was a swimmer for 16 years, a competitive swimmer. Like I was doing double practices 2 times a day. You know, before school, I'd wake up at 5 a.m. and I'd go practice, and then I would go to school, hair wet, exhausted. And then I'd go to practice after school, hair wet, exhausted. And I would practice for hours and hours and hours in a day. And it was definitely not, like, looking back, if I ever had kids, I would not let them do this, but that's not a dig to my parents at all, because I was obsessed with swimming. But just like mentally, I'm still recovering from that. But there was this concept that my coach would say before every single meet, our competition, right? We would get the lineup for our race, because every single race had these heats. So, because there's like only 6 or 8 lanes in a pool, right? So only 6 or 8 people can race against each other at a time. So you'd be placed in a heat depending on your best time. And sometimes it was best time of the season. Sometimes it was best time of all time. And so my coach, like something I would struggle with would be like getting in my head, right? Of like, well, on paper, I'm seated the best, or on paper I'm seated to win. And she would say to me every single time, we don't swim on paper. So even though my placement on the heat, on the heat, they're called heat sheets, on the heat sheets, the placement could be the best seat in the race, we never know what could happen. And I was thinking about this because you know, there's a lot of people that say all you need to do is post content consistently, sell your offers, show up, like follow this strategy. And there are coaches who will give you like exact content prompts to follow, exact scripts to do in your Instagram stories, exact DM scripts, right? Like you can literally, if you try, you could find the exact playbook, the exact scripts to follow every single day. Yet that doesn't mean you're going to be successful. And that is why there are so many people out there who are doing everything right? Like they know what to do. They're doing every single thing right. Yet they're still stagnant. They're getting likes, but they're not getting sales. And so who like shows up once a month has a $16,000 launch, and you're like, what the heck's going on? It's because you don't swim on paper. On paper, you are doing everything right. But there are these nuances that go into content that performs well. And that is something that I really focus on inside the Story Selling Accelerator. It's not just, here's the content, go post it, and you're going to be successful. It's those little nuances that go into your content, that goes into your sales, that goes into how you show up, that determines whether you're going to be noticed, you're going to sell, or you're not. And some of those things are like knowing and understanding your audience. Like I am someone who I sold out 50% of my mastermind in 48 hours. I have hosted challenges that have had 100 people inside. That was still one of the most exciting times. And I'm hoping the conversation challenge gets up to 100 people because it was so much fun having that much energy inside this container. But just 2 months ago, I hosted a masterclass. It was free. And on paper, it seems amazing, right? Like this free masterclass, I'm giving away one of my frameworks that I teach in my higher ticketed programs. Like it should be a no-brainer. And you see people all the time say like, you'd be dumb not to be inside this program, or like, what are you doing? This is a no-brainer. But there's nuances to that, right? Like, so I launched this masterclass and I got, I don't know, like 3 people inside. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And I've launched this challenge since then, and I have 21 people inside. So that's just a little bit of knowing your audience, right? Like now I understand, my audience are action takers. My audience wants like really direct actions that they can take to get results. They don't want to sit and watch a class. They want to have someone give them bite-sized pieces of things that they can go run with and get tangible results. Now I know this about my audience, right? And it's all ever changing. That's why the step-by-step scripts, the like strategies that you follow to a T, you can have the best strategy from the most successful person and it could still not work. It's because there's nuances to your audience, to how you show up, to the industry, to what's going on in your life, right? There are days when we're feeling amazing, and then there's days when we're not feeling amazing. And that all goes into our content. You don't swim on paper. You don't sign clients on paper. So I say this because in the Story Selling Accelerator, converting content is phase 4. Hi, the microwave vegetarian. Tell me your name. I'd love to know your name. In the Story Selling Accelerator, converting content is phase 4 of the 4 phases inside the program that you go through. Phase 1 is building out a legacy positioning. This is your brand story. This is positioning your offer so that it actually stands out and it tells your audience why it's different from other people, why you are the person to be teaching them or providing the service, right? Like this goes for coaches and done for you service providers. It does not matter what industry you're in. And that is something that I tried to skip for so many months in my business. I'm coming on to year 5 of business, and year 1 and 2, I was still very much trying to figure things out. And I saw people hosting masterminds. So I was like, I'll host a mastermind. And I saw people hosting one-on-ones and I was like, I'll do that. And there was nothing to differentiate my mastermind from anyone else's mastermind or my one-on-one from anyone else's one-on-one. So when it came to sell my offer and to create content, it kind of felt like pulling things out of thin air. I'm like, okay, one day I'm going to talk about this. One day I'm going to talk about that. One day I'm going to talk about that. And when I would sell my offer, I'd be like, in the one-on-one, you're going to get monthly calls. You're going to get this. You're going to get this. But it was so hard to actually talk about the tangible results because my offer wasn't positioned. So I'd find myself saying things like, this isn't your ordinary mastermind where you get on a hot seat call and no one, you have like 5 minutes to ask a question. This isn't your typical one-on-one, whatever, like I'd say those types of things, or I'd be like, this offer's a no-brainer. Because to me, it's a no-brainer. On paper, it's a no-brainer. But to my audience who knows nothing about me or who knows nothing about you, they need a little bit more help because they're getting just like slapped in the face with tons and tons and tons of content and sales and different offers. So is our job as business owners, as someone who is selling something, to show our people why us. So that's step number one in the Story Selling Accelerator, is your legacy positioning. Because like I said, you can have the literal script. Do this, do this, do this, say this, say this, say this. But if you don't actually have an offer that is positioned to stand out and rooted in your story and rooted in experience and embodied, then you're not going to see the same results as someone who does have an offer that is embodied and positioned in a way that's going to help you stand out. By the way, I really hope you can hear me, because very often Instagram likes to cut my sound off. So if you're watching this, let me know if you can hear me. That's why I have my headphones in, because for some reason the headphones work. So that's step one, and that's something that most people skip. And we spend a lot of time in this step. There's multiple trainings in this step. There's multiple journal prompts. There's actions for my people to take. Step two is that just scared me so much. Okay, you can hear me. I thought someone was just walking into my house. That scared me so much. Okay. Step two is your clarity and your messaging. So this is where, step one was all about us. Like, why me? What's our brand story? Why is our offer the offer that people need to invest in? How is it different from other people? What's the story of it? Like, why did you create it? Why is it so important for people to join? Step two is now about them. Why is this offer for them? Why is this offer what they need right now? Why is this offer going to help them more than that offer? What are they trying to do on a daily basis to solve the problem that you solve in your offer that's not working for them? So, for example, I worked with a hormone coach, and she specifically helped women in their 40s and 50s fix their hormones going through menopause. And her audience, the people that she wanted to work with, they were trying all the fad diets, the crazy cardio workouts, going to like Zumba classes and CrossFit and stuff that was like spiking their cortisol, their stress response hormone. And what that was doing was storing and trapping fat. So they kept trying all the dieting and the crazy workouts, and they were just getting heavier and heavier, when their goal was to feel lighter, to feel like they can, move in their 50s, even though they've aged and their body's going through changes. And so that was a unique angle that we brought to her audience. But you need to know what your audience is trying to do, because if you don't know this, then you're not going to create content that can speak to you, to them. Which again, we go back to, you don't swim on paper. You don't create content on paper. You can have the exact script. You can have do this, do this, do this. And there's still going to be someone, woo! This is so cool. There's a pileated woodpecker that just flew over my head. I don't know if you can hear it. And it landed on that tree. That was so cool. I wish I could be on the video. I'm like literally freaking out. That was so cool. So we don't swim on paper. You can have literally the script. You can have the exact playbook, and someone's going to be successful and someone else is not going to be successful, right? It's because we need to know these things. We need to know why you are the person, your legacy positioning. We need to know exactly what your dream client is going through, why they need, it was so cool, why they need your offer, what they're working on, their attributes, like who they are as a person. Because many times people are like, okay, I'm going to create this offer, I'm going to create this mastermind, I'm going to create this one-on-one, and we're going to go through the X, Y, and Z. And they create content from this place of like, their audience is a victim. Their audience doesn't understand like anything. Like they're completely in the dark. They're not taking action. They're creating content that's like, this and this sucks because blah, blah, blah. And instead, like, your audience is trying really freaking hard. Like my client who's a hormone coach, her audience, her dream clients were trying so hard to lose weight. They were doing everything. They were doing the research. They were going to the doctors. They were getting their blood work done, and nothing was working for them. So when she started to create content like, I see you, you're trying everything, where I was once in your spot too, where I thought I had to be on all these different supplements because my body was changing as I was going through menopause, until I did this. That really helped her sign more clients with her content. So phase 1, legacy positioning. Phase 2, your clarity and your messaging around who your offer is for, who you're actually speaking to. We cannot skip these steps just to get to the content. We have to have these steps nailed in place. And these steps, by the way, are an ever evolving work of art, a person, experience, I don't know what to call it, organism. It's an ever evolving organism. Like, you're always going back to your legacy positioning and asking yourself, how can I make this offer even more enticing? How can I make this offer even more juicy, right? Like, I'm always going back to my offer and trying to make it better. There was a season in my life when I would launch offers and I would get 1 or 2 people in, and I'd be disappointed by that, and then I just trash the offer. I would be like, okay, on to the next, and I would create a new offer. Now I sit with my offers. I've had this iteration of an offer for 2 years now. The name has changed, the formatting has changed, but the overall transformation of it is the same. But I'm constantly going and evolving. Something that I just did for this was I just created a document that goes through the 4 phases. And so when you join the Story Selling Accelerator, you get this document that is basically like your Bible. It's like, this is your handbook for exactly how you're going to build this dream community of people that are like backing your movement up and are so excited to see your content and engage with your content and join your world. So phase 1, your legacy positioning. I talk about like what questions you need to have answered, what steps you should be taking in this phase. And I also list the trainings that are inside the portal for you to watch. Then step 2 is your clarity messaging. Same thing. I have the journal prompts that you need to answer, the action steps you should be taking, and the trainings you can watch. Phase 3 is my favorite phase, and that's building out your story bank. And that's actually something that we do on our one-on-one onboarding call. As soon as you sign up, we get to book this call, and it's so much fun because what my superpower is really figuring out what stories you're sitting on that you're not sharing. I know everyone knows their origin story, right? Their hero story of, I started this business because of XYZ, and then this happened, and now I'm here, right? Everyone has that story. I have no doubt about that, right? Like, you started your business for a reason, and you know why. And you probably shared that story. It's, usually it's like an about me style post that's pinned to your Instagram. But there are way more stories you can tell, and people are not telling them. People are sticking to the educational posts. People are sticking to, what hook should I post today? What hook should I use? What hook's going to get people to stop scrolling? What trend should I use for my reels? When like literally these stories are going to stop people scrolling. They're going to stop. They're going to listen. They're buying in because they're so uniquely for them. That they see your post and they're like, whoa, I feel like she's speaking directly to me. Actually, Brenda, I don't know if Brenda's still on this call, but Brenda came to me from TikTok. I don't even have a TikTok anymore. Because when the US was banning TikTok, I was like, you know what, forget it. I'm done with TikTok. I'm just going to focus on Instagram. But Brenda came to me from TikTok, and she actually commented on one of my posts, and I still have this screenshot, but she said something like, are you listening into my conversations? Right? That's how specific your content needs to be to get people to stop and go, oh, this is what I've been looking for. This is the support that I need. So you can have the flashy marketing, you can have the luxury marketing, you can have the perfect script. But if we're skipping steps 1 through 3 of your legacy positioning, you're positioning your offer to stand out and really show your audience that this is for them, your clarity in your messaging of who you're actually talking to, and why someone's a good fit for your offer versus someone who's not a good fit for your offer. And then your story bank, all these micro stories that we bring out that you can use to make your content hit every single time. Storytelling content is not just a day on your content pillars. It's something that we're weaving every single time we create content. I did it in this live stream. I do it in my emails that I send out. I do it in every single post. I do it in my Instagram story sequence. And that's why I get the connections that I get. That's why I get people joining my email list. That's why I get people joining my offers. It's because I'm building these connections, and people feel so seen by my content that they just have to, they're bought in, right? It doesn't matter if they join my free offer. Doesn't matter if they join my high ticket offer. It doesn't matter if they join VIP or whatever. They're bought in, and I have a space for them. And then there's phase 4, which is actually creating content that converts. But I bring you through all those 4 phases inside the Story Selling Accelerator. And this is why it works for my clients, because they will go from doing all the right things, posting content every single day, talking about their offer every single day, showing up, doing live streams, sending emails, and getting nothing, and feeling frustrated, and looking at other people in their audience who started later than them, who started, who don't post as frequently. Like, I remember I was literally in a mastermind with somebody, and I was like, I'm posting every single day. What's going on? And she was like, oh my God, like, don't give up, honey. I haven't posted at all for an entire month. I showed up one day and I had a $16,000 launch. And I was like, okay, but I am posting every single day. I am selling every single day. The difference is that pre-work that needs to happen before we can really have the magic click into place. And I think it's still up on my stories, but I did this reflection on my stories yesterday about the moment that this really clicked for me. It clicked for me because I had been doing everything right, posting content consistently. When I say consistently, every single day. And on TikTok, I was posting it 3 times a day because that's what everyone said to do. I was posting educational content. I was in these programs designed for content, and people would be like, oh, your content's great, just keep posting. My content wasn't the problem. The problem was all that pre-work, the positioning, owning my story, my energy, how I showed up, how I believed in my offer. I told you earlier that I would jump from offer to offer when it didn't work. Now I've been with the same offer for 2 years. Hi, Safe Space Therapeutics. Welcome. Let me know your name, by the way, so I can call you by your name. But it clicked for me when I stopped, I dropped the rules. I dropped, you should have these content pillars. You should be posting educational posts. You should do opinion-based posts. You should do a sales post. You should do a storytelling post. And I just merged it all into one post. I was like, I'm going to make it simple. I'm going to throw all that away. Because what it's doing to me is it's putting me in a box, and there's got to be an easier way than this. I literally just kept telling myself, there's got to be an easier way. So I just threw it all out. I stopped looking at trends. Go look at my Instagram reels. I rarely do trends. That the propaganda I'm no longer subscribed to, or the propaganda I'm subscribed to, I see so many people posting that I just swipe on by because I'm like, I've seen this post 1,000 times. But you know what content always gets me to stop scrolling? Stories, especially when they relate to me and what I'm going through, or something that I'm interested in. I will always watch that. So I threw out the trending audio. I threw out the content pillars. I threw out, oh, you should be selling in this way. I threw out, you should look a certain way. I threw all that out, and I focused on 3 things. I focused on me. Why my offer? Why me? What's my story? Why am I the one to be teaching this or supporting my clients on this if you're a service provider? Why me? What about my offer is better than someone else's offer? You have to know this. And maybe it's an edge, like, well, other people are telling you to post consistently. They're telling you that your content's the problem, when I know actually it's your positioning, it's your brand messaging, it's your stories that you're telling, right? That's the positioning for the story selling accelerator. I threw all that out. I focused on my positioning. I focused on me, like I said. I focused on you. I focused on actually what my audience was going through, what they needed to hear, what they were sick of seeing, what they're actually searching on YouTube, what kind of programs they were investing in, what kind of advice they were subscribing to. I started speaking their language. And then 3, I just started inviting them in and telling stories that would get them activated and saying, okay, I'm here. I've walked the walk. I know exactly what you need to go through to get results. You're here. Like, I'm on chapter 10. You're on chapter 3. I know what chapters 4 through 10 look like. You want in? I've tried the things that you're trying. They didn't work for me, but here's what worked instead. Come on in. And that's all I focused on. I just told stories. I told experiences about how I led my clients, and I invited them in. And guess what happened? I went from struggling to sign clients. Literally struggling. I would do these launches that were 30, 60 days long, and I would get maybe 1 person inside. And I'd feel frustrated because I'd see other people talking about their huge launches, and I would be in programs where they would have 20 to 200 people inside. I'd be like, what the heck? This program's not even good. And then I just stopped. I stopped consuming. I drew a line in the sand, and I said, no, I'm just going to focus on me. I'm going to focus on me and you, baby, and how we can work together. Me plus you equals us inside the program. And so guess what happened? I went from struggling to sign clients to I had, in like a matter of days, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, I stopped scrolling. I stopped like trying the classic prompts and like ways to structure your carousels and like the trending audios and posting content for views and everything. And I just started to tell these stories. And I want to say it was 3 days. I had someone sign up for my private VIP that I wasn't even selling. They just came into my DMs and was like, can I work with you? Do you have any private options available? I don't really want to join your group program. I don't really want to join your mastermind. And I'm like too advanced for your like pre-recorded courses. Can I join your one-on-one? I was like, okay. And that was a $7,000 sale. I had a $7,000 day. And then I also hosted a low ticket offer that got a ton of people inside, and 100% of those people upgraded into my mastermind. And I sold out my mastermind sold out 50% of my mastermind in 48 hours. That was the quickest amount of time that I had so many clients signing up. I was literally going on hikes with my fiance, and I'd be like, oh, I just got another one. Oh, another one. This is so exciting. And like I said, now the conversation challenge is at 21 people. And I've been talking about it for 4 or 5 days. This is the power of story. This is the power of like getting out of the content box, forgetting about what everyone else is talking about, and just focusing on me, you, and us together. You can do that for your own audience. The story selling accelerator was made because of this shift that I made. I had been subscribing to, I'm doing everything right. I'm posting the content. I'm talking about my offer. I'm doing these launches, and nothing is working. What the heck? I'm watching other people do on paper the exact same thing as me. Why are they succeeding? Why am I not? Well, it's because you don't swim on paper. You don't swim on paper. You need to have the stuff that's behind the scenes that backs up what you are doing online, what you're showing face for. And so, like, me plus you equals us is literally the 4 phases of the launch, or the 4 phases of the story selling accelerator. Me, legacy positioning. How is your offer different from anyone else's offer? Finding your unique selling point. Infusing your unique brand story that's unlike anyone else's brand story. That's how you're going to set yourself apart. That's me. You, clarity and messaging. Who are you actually talking to? Who's this offer actually for? What are they trying that's not working? Equals us. The content that you put out. We skip over the brand stories, but that's also like me, my own story, and like the us of working together, different experiences that clients go through, right? So like I added some extra juice and meat to the formula, just so that you have this like bank of experiences that you can pull from whenever you need to sell, pull from whenever you need to create content. Because, by the way, sales and content become ridiculously easy when you just go, oh, what story do I want to tell today? Oh, I'll tell a story about Brenda. Oh, I'll tell a story about Val, the hormone coach. Oh, I'll tell a story about Maria. Oh, I'll tell, right? Or I'll tell my own story of how I tried this, it didn't work, and now I'm doing this. You might be telling stories right now, but they're not strategic stories. They're not positioning your offer, you as the person that they need to buy from. So if you're like, I'm done with the content box, I'm done trying to do everything on paper that people say to do, I want to really stand out, I want to do things my own way, but by the way, I'm like really freaking scared of like, if I ditch this strategy, what if I lose everything? The story selling accelerator is where you need to be, because this program is literally designed to help you stand out, build brand story, build brand presence, create these strategic stories that are going to help you stand out. And my clients see results in days. They'll spend months trying it on their own, posting content consistently, and see no shift until they start applying the story selling framework and seeing results. I have a ton of highlights in my Instagram profile that goes over the different results that I've gotten clients. If you need more and more proof, if you have questions, send me a DM. But I want to see you inside this program, because the next 6 months together can completely change your business, your life. Maybe one day you'll be going to live off grid for the 3rd summer in a row. Or maybe you're going to go, maybe that's not your cup of tea, and maybe you want to go travel. And your business can support you through that. So the Story Selling Accelerator is like my main space for people to join. That's where most of my clients are inside. If that is tickling your interest, go send me a DM. If you're like, I need a little bit more Hannah time, I want a little bit more time to really experience what you do, I have a free challenge that's happening June 2nd to June 6th called the Conversation Challenge. Everyone talks about sales. Everyone talks about post consistently. Everyone talks about you should have content like this and these content pillars, really rigid, but no one's really talking about content that's going to build conversations, connections, the things that are going to make people stop scrolling, comment, are you listening in on my conversations? That's what we're doing June 2nd to June 6th. It's inside a private Telegram group. And every single day for 5 days, I'm going to be dropping in an audio training for you to listen, tap into, learn something of value. It's going to be very similar to this. This by itself could have been a masterclass. And I'm also going to be giving you an action step.